I'm Allie Diamond. This is ThreatWire. ESET researchers have discovered Bootkit, a groundbreaking proof-of-concept UEFI bootkit targeting Linux systems. While UEFI bootkits have historically focused on Windows, Bootkit shifts the paradigm, exploiting weaknesses in the UEFI secure boot process to disable kernel signature verification and load unauthorized binaries. The bootkit infiltrates during the system boot process, altering critical grub and Linux kernel functions. For example, Bootkit hooks into the UEFI PE image integrity verifier function to bypass integrity checks, always returning a successful code. This effectively allows unsigned components to execute even on systems with secure boot enabled, provided the attacker's certificates are installed. From a technical perspective, Bootkit is not without limitations. Its reliance on hard-coded byte patterns means it only supports a narrow set of configurations, often crashing systems when those patterns fail. Additionally, it includes unused functions and self-signed certificates, artifacts that suggest this is an early proof of concept rather than fully operational malware. Whether a proof of concept or not, Bootkit marks an interesting move forward in the UEFI threat landscape, breaking the belief about modern UEFI bootkits being Windows-exclusive threats. Even though the current version from VirusTotal does not at the moment represent a real threat to the majority of Linux systems, it emphasizes the necessity of being prepared for potential future threats. To keep your Linux system safe from such threats, make sure that UEFI Secure Boot is enabled, your system firmware and OS are up to date, and so is your UEFI revocations list. As that quote said, Bootkit may not be fully operational yet, but its discovery reminds us that the UEFI threat landscape is expanding. It actually turns out that Bootkit was actually a proof of concept created for a cybersecurity student project as a part of Korea's Best of the Best training program. While being confirmed to be a POC, this does not invalidate the warnings about the potential attacks. Riot Games has announced their bug bounty program for their anti-cheat engine that will have a maximum payout of $100,000. This comes in the wake of Activision's anti-cheat failure, which we covered in our ThreatWire episode from October 21st, 2024. As a reminder, the Call of Duty anti-cheat was reading memory, and any instance of a certain value in any form of game memory would trigger their anti-cheat to ban a player. This included players being sent a message with malicious values in a lobby and simply being on the receiving end of the message. For the program, any game or service from Riot is eligible with a minimum guaranteed payout of $250 guaranteed. The new Riot Games anti-cheat program will reward a host of vulnerabilities, most notably zero-click RCEs in Valorant, specific player targeting DDoS and session disconnects, and specific player IP exposure are highlighted to be able to receive a maximum payout of $100,000. They will also pay out for a host of other bugs and vulnerabilities in their games, not only for Valorant. If you want to check it out, I've linked to their HackerOne page in the description. In privacy news, Niantic Games, creator of the augmented reality games like Pokemon Go and Pikmin Bloom, released a blog post about their long-term goals as an AI-focused company. This new blog post explained that Niantic has been using the data and images collected by the players of their game to train what they call a large geospatial model in order to achieve spatial intelligence. For those unaware of the general premise of most of the games created by Niantic, they generally revolve around going into the real world and doing some sort of interaction. This involves taking a photo, finding a location in the world, and more. Over the past 5 years, Niantic has focused on building our virtual positioning system, VPS, which uses a single image from a phone to determine its position and orientation using a 3D map built from people scanning interesting locations in our games and Scaniverse. From a cybersecurity and personal perspective, this seems so logical to me as the next step. The games were free and they were using IP from mega corporations like Nintendo that require a lot of care. Using players to make hyper-localized maps and sell that map makes sense, especially in the case of rising interest in AI robotics. As a reminder, if the thing is free, you are the product. Thank you so much for watching ThreatWire for the week of December 2nd, 2024. If you want to support this show, please head over to patreon.com/ThreatWire. As a heads up, keep your eyes on this channel over the next week and a half. We are going to be doing some really exciting live streams showing off all of the Hack5 products and walking through their functionality. So if you've ever wanted to see a real in-depth walkthrough from zero, this is your chance. We will definitely be announcing the times and such as we get closer, but if you haven't yet, please be sure to turn on the notifications for the channel so you don't miss anything. If you want to find me online, you can find me at endingwithali on everything including Minecraft as per usual. Good luck, have fun, and don't get caught.